Hello everyone and welcome to Top Tips for Archaeology Graduates. Today I'm joined by Emily. Hi Emily, how are you today?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Thank you very much for coming along to join us. So Emily is a collections assistant for the National Trust in Wales, as for the Welsh speakers who will have already heard. So Emily, maybe you could talk a little bit about your experiences working as a collections assistant and working for the National Trust.
Yeah, so I'm a collections assistant with the National Trust at Penrhyn Castle, and that is just outside Bangor in North Wales. It's an amazing job. It's so varied. You get to do so many different things under that title. Everything from really in-depth stuff from monitoring pest levels and making sure the humidity is right for all of the items, to chasing around boxes so that you've got stuff in the right storage. It's very, very varied. I absolutely love it. I've been with the trust for 2 years in June. I went into it straight after graduating, so yeah.
I can tell by the smile on your face that you do really enjoy this job. What are some of the things that you do enjoy? What are the kind of the best bits, the things that you really look forward to when you wake up in the morning and there's something that you've got to do? What are those moments?
Honestly, I'm just such a nerd. Like, it's not even funny. I just wake up and I'm like, I get to go to a castle today and I get to work in a castle. And no matter what job you're doing, it's just, you look up and you've suddenly got this architecture of stonework, and it's just amazing. But no, I really like getting up, and we're in the open season at the moment. We actually opened up again after COVID. Yesterday was our first day. So we just have to get the house ready in the morning. So open all the blinds, make sure and the shutters, make sure it's all cleaned all the way through. Check the collection, make sure that there's been no damage from the day before. Make sure that there's nothing in the visitor route, that kind of thing. But while we've been closed, it's been quite intense. We've been doing what's called our winter clean. So after we put the house to bed, we have to go through each item in each room and individually clean it. Normally with a paintbrush, so it's really quite up close and detailed work, but you get to see parts of the collection that you'd never seen before because it's right in front of you, and you always find something that's really cool. But honestly, I just enjoy. I've only been there, started in February at this property, so I'm still finding my way around, and there's 220 rooms. So I'm going into each room and being like, okay, this is a taxidermy store, let's close that again and not go in there. Or opening it up and there's a really cool ornate bed that is just completely broken and taken to pieces, and you're like, well, why does that look like that? So it's just so interesting every day. That's what I enjoy. Yeah.
That's fantastic. It does sound like a really varied job, though I think I'd find the taxidermy room quite fascinating.
Yeah.
So the other side of that then is, what do you find more challenging about the role? What are some of the things that perhaps you didn't know before you got into the role and wish you'd known, or do you perhaps don't enjoy quite so much?
I'd say the more challenging side of it has been particularly working at a Welsh property, because I'm not Welsh originally, and you will get spoken to in Welsh. So I'm in the process of learning Welsh, and some visitors, obviously it is Welsh, you should speak in Welsh, but trying to pick up on stuff can be a bit tricky. So that was something I was not prepared for coming into Wales at all, which was a bit silly. And just kind of getting my head around the job completely, because each property is very specific in what you have to know and the way that they do things and their routines, and just knowing the house basically. And that takes years to learn in each property, the quirks, and which doors go where, and which keys fit in which lock in certain days. If it's too warm, that key will not open that door. So you can sometimes walk around being like, can someone just let me into this room, please, because I can't get in. So that's a bit frustrating sometimes. And yeah, I think there's not much I found too challenging. It's just, you've got to know so many things, but they make it so, it's such a good educational environment to learn within the trust. They will really support you. So as much as it has been challenging trying to figure out how to treat wood, how to treat metal, how to monitor pests, how to tell a carpet beetle from a variator or something else, and they'll teach you along the way. So even though it's been challenging, it's not felt like that much of a challenge.
That's great to hear. So you enjoy working in the National Trust because it's quite an educational environment. They've given you lots of support to learn things. That's really nice to hear. Can I ask, how did you get into this role then? You said earlier that you went straight from your degree into working for the National Trust. How did you go about finding the job and applying?
Yeah, so I actually started the month before I graduated, so I had my dissertation presentation to do whilst I was already working like 100 miles away. So that was tricky. But I started just looking on the National Trust website, and they have a load of really great jobs that go up. I found one close to where I lived so that I could work part-time and then move back home after university and just start at the bottom. I was in customer services, just start at the bottom, and I was really fortunate that I took on customer services and membership role, and then I was encouraged by my manager to go and do volunteering with the collection team in the house. So I'd work 4 days a week, and then 1 day a week I'd be in the house, that kind of thing. And that was just such a great footing to get me in through the door there. And then from there, yeah, it just sort of developed. Once you've got a couple of them skills down, you can start applying for collection assistant jobs, and it's a really good process. But yeah, my piece of advice would be, don't be afraid to start at the bottom and do the grunt work. And you're like, yes, I have a degree, but if I'm serving customers, that's fine. It's just how it goes sometimes. But
yeah, do you see yourself developing your career within the National Trust for a long time, or do you think you'll move outside? Okay. Yeah,
I think so, either within the trust or within the museums, but certainly for the moment there does seem to be a good amount of progression in the National Trust. So I'm going to try and keep going up with that, and see where it goes, really.
Where it takes you. Maybe we'll get back in touch with you in a few years and find out
what
you're doing and where you're getting on. So can I ask, how did your archaeology degree help you then in terms of your current job as a collections assistant? What kind of skills did your degree give you? I guess both those in terms of knowledge, but also the soft transferable skills.
Honestly, the degree prepared me so much. It's been really amazing the amount of things I could put down on my CV that were transferable skills, from hosting seminars and leading meetings like that. I have had to do that in meetings, and you just feel so much more confident going in and being like, right, I've got my pitch, I know what I'm doing, I'm not afraid to talk to people. That's really important. Matt Jenkins' historic houses module, where we read the National Trust Manual of Housekeeping from cover to cover. That is my Bible now, so that's definitely transferable. Dav's, I did the historic buildings module. That was fascinating. It was buildings history, I think. That was amazing. That taught me archives as well. I've got archives work here. So many transferable skills all the way across, from doing digs and having to look at sheets and make records of that. I'm not a digger. I've never been a digger. I did archaeology and heritage. But even the skills that I learned from there, from recording, that's helped me now doing condition reports. Yeah, I applied and went to Jersey with the Jersey Heritage Project. What did I do? I did 2018 and 2019 with the hours on archives and buildings. And the skills that I learned from that have meant that I've been sort of thrown headfirst into an archival project at the moment. And I felt confident enough to just be like, yeah, okay, a little bit of support, but I know what I'm doing, I know where to go. And that's really invaluable. It's skills that are 100% transferable out into the career world. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And nice to see the Jersey experience giving you confidence to take on some of these roles as well. I think when I've spoken to people doing these interviews, one of the messages that comes through loud and clear is that keeps saying to me is that people should have confidence. And it's really nice to hear that, you know, you got that, and now you've been able to take on archival work within your work because of your experiences in Jersey. It's not just about the experience, it's confidence it gave you to take it on as well.
Massively. And working with an actual heritage organization and being like, no, I can do this. Okay, I've done this once, I can do it again. It's real life, actual museum experience. So, which was incredible. It, really boosted my confidence doing Jersey.
That's great. So what kind of advice would you give to students who wanted to follow in your footsteps, perhaps working for the National Trust or perhaps as a collections assistant?
So I've done National Trust, English Heritage, Jersey Heritage. I've not done actual museums, but I'm pretty sure the advice across the board, like I said, would be, don't be afraid to start at the bottom, get your hands in, if you get given a crappy job, just do it with a smile, and then chances are you'll probably be trusted to be given something bigger. I also asked my boss just general advice on what she looks for on CVs from a heritage point of view. And she said for the National Trust, go through the set values that are online and make sure that on your CV you have the 4 values, because that's what they will measure your CV off. And yeah, don't be vague. If you're going for an interview, give as many specific examples as you can. Don't be afraid to toot your own horn and go for it. But yeah, just get as much volunteering experience as you can, get as many varied experiences as you can, and yeah, make sure you got them connections, and jobs will come up. Sometimes you just have to be a bit patient, but they are there.
And you're a really fantastic example of that, doing a job that you love now for the National Trust in Wales. So I'm going to say very best of luck with learning Welsh.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming along today and talking about your experiences. I know many students are keen to explore what the National Trust might be able to offer in terms of a career, and it's great to see that you're flourishing within that. Maybe we'll come back in a few years and check in with you and find out what you're up to. So thank you so much to Emily for coming along and talking today. Thank you so much to you, our watcher, for coming and listening to this conversation. Join us again for more top tips for archaeology graduates.